everybody, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am here playing along with Stretch the Sketch for the month of March. We are using this gorgeous sketch from Brenda Ragsdale. And don't you just love how my printer is out of ink? So it's printing in that really like funky, peachy pink color. Does that happen to anybody else? But I'm like, you know what? I don't need it to be perfect, so it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right, friends, so I am playing with my March for the Love of Homemade kits for this particular layout, and I'm going to take this 12 by 12 sketch and make it into an 8.5 by 11 layout. So in my albums, I tend to combine pages of lots of different sizes. So I don't stick with just 12 by 12. I have pocket pages, I have 8.5 by 11, I have 6 by 12. It's kind of a mismatch of everything, and I love it that way. So this one is going to be an 8.5 by 11. So I cut my photo down to 4 by 4, and I'm backing it with a little bit of white cardstock. But I am basically going to start with where the sketch has me going. I am going to use one photo instead of two, and that works out well because I am shrinking the sketch. So when I'm kind of doing that size compression with the sketch, that allows me to take that second block photo completely kind of out of the mix. I'm going to use this Dear Lizzie, She's Magic? She's Magic, is that the name? I think so. Oh my goodness. She's Magic, I believe. Green paper with like these leaves on it. And I really loved the way that that layered with that Echo Park kind of ombre background paper. And if you want to see all the details about exactly what's in this kit, you can go back and watch the March for the Love of Homemade Kits kit share, where I kind of go through everything that's in this particular kit. But I really like the idea of having a pop of yellow. So I'm going to use this Bella Boulevard kind of geometric, like subway tile type paper, and use that to add just that pop of yellow. And I totally just realized I don't have my watch on today, so you guys get to see that nice like watch tan line that comes from living in Arizona and being a baseball mom. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm trying to get another layer in here. So if you look at the sketch, there's like a dark black polka dot paper that's kind of as an additional layer. And so I keep playing around with this notebook paper, trying to get that in there, but I feel like it's almost too much white. And I really like it, but it's just a little bit too much. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my kit. And I haven't gotten to play with my For the Love of Homemade kits a whole lot yet this month. So I still have, you know, all my pattern paper in there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one from Paige Evans. It has these little teeny tiny hearts on it. And I feel like that's going to break up the white a little bit more than what that notebook paper does. And so I'm going to slide that under my photo instead. And when I'm layering up those pattern papers, it works well because the sizes of all of the like images on those pattern papers are different. So if those hearts were the same size as like the foliage, words are hard, you guys, foliage, then it would have been a little bit too busy and competing. But since they are a really small little heart detail paired with a bigger leaf pattern, it's going to work well. And you don't see enough of the yellow pattern paper, like the print on it, to really have that be a factor. I am going to take my Catherine Pooler Juniper Mist ink and go around the edges of my layers. And this is just going to create a little bit of a distressed feel, but I felt like I needed it with the white pattern paper, the one with the little hearts on it, to kind of tie it all together with the background. So once I inked one layer, I felt like I needed to ink them all, ink all the things. All right, so I'm still thinking about how I'm going to get that little, see how there's a black pattern paper in the corner of the sketch? I really want to continue that little triangular element up there. I just couldn't decide which pattern paper I wanted to use, or if I wanted to flip the corner, how I wanted that to work. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this one that has the foliage on it. See, I can word. And once I get it on there, I decide that it needs a little pop of the yellow. So in typical Khristina style, you're going to watch me tear it up and put another paper underneath and glue it all back together, because it wouldn't be a Khristina layout if something didn't get glued down that had to get removed again. So I am using that big banner piece in place of where it has the arrows in the sketch itself. I thought about using that arrow detail and cutting my banner into those little like chevron shaped sections. But I felt like because I was using a larger pattern, that was going to just make it a little bit too busy. So instead of having the little sections of chevrons like there is in the sketch, I'm just going to use the one piece of the banner. And I feel like it just gives it a little bit more of a cohesive look. And then, so that's, words are hard again, you guys. That's the basic foundation of the layout itself. So those are kind of my major pieces that I'm going to use to build off of and start embellishing. That's kind of where I start to go rogue from the sketch. So a lot of times when I'm using a sketch, I am basically using it as like the foundation of my page. So where my pattern paper layers are going to go, where my photos are going to go, that kind of thing. And then once I get to the embellishing part is where I tend to just do my own thing. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's kind of how I approach a sketch a lot of times. And so I'm going to get this little corner of notebook paper into that top corner by my photo. And this is kind of where I'm starting to like go off on my own. So I'm like, all right, I've got my foundation. I'm good there. Now it's time to go on my own. And that corner is going to end up, when I put all my embellishments in, being like completely covered up and you can't even see it anyway. But I know it's there, right? All right, so I am grabbing a bunch of things from this March kit. So I have this little Adventurers from Pink Paisley. I had some Felicity Jane. I think that was Bailey. I'm just going to kind of combine the ephemera from those two packs. I knew I wanted to get some florals in here, so I'm going through the little Adventurers and I'm going to pull out all the florals. There's a bunch of florals kind of in the corner of this picture. So it's just the two girls standing back to back. There wasn't anything super significant or like a big story I had to tell, but I thought it was a really cute picture. And you can kind of see in that lower like left-hand corner of the photo, there are some pinkish colored flowers kind of in the background. And then there's some pink on the girls' shirts. And then, so I wanted to kind of bring that element in. And so that's where those florals are going to come from. And when I end up gluing all of this down, I end up flipping the florals around so that the light pink one is on the bottom and the darker pink one is at the top. And that's just because it creates a better diagonal with the colors in the picture. So the brighter pink is on the like dark blue tank top. And so I'm going to move that flower up to the top and that will create a diagonal. And then the lower left-hand corner has some pale pink flowers in the background. And so moving that flower down to the bottom corner creates another diagonal, just kind of combining all of those elements together. And so it's probably way more information than you ever wanted to know, but it's just kind of how my brain works to create a little bit of balance. I am going to get this little ticket stuck up here in the top portion. I had thought about inking my flowers, but I really wanted those to kind of keep that clean edged look. So I'm not going to ink the edges of those. I am going to get that little pink like ticket in there. Tickets are one of my absolute favorite things to use on layouts. And so I'm going to cut it in, actually I'm going to rip it in half because, you know, who knows where the scissors are at this point. There's a mess on my desk. And I'm going to put those in two different little spots kind of tucked under my photo mats. And then I'm going to get that, the florals and the ticket kind of put back where they go, the tag put back where they go. And this is where I decide to change the placement of those two different floral clusters so that the brighter pink is at the top and the paler pink is at the bottom. And we have already like overly crazy digested why I did that little tiny subtle thing. And so we're going to get those down at the bottom. I do have this little banner that says love in all of the colors that match the hearts in the background paper. So I'm just going to run that along the bottom kind of edge of the photo. And I know I want to use those puffy, scripty words to create my title. So I'm going to use this word beauty. And I fight with it for a second to get it exactly where I want it to go. And I tend to have this, I don't know if you guys have this issue. I tend to have this when I'm using like thicker words or puffy sticker words, that once you pull them off that sheet, the letters tend to go in wonky directions. Like they don't stay looking all nice and perfect and scripty. They look like deranged mangled letters sometimes. So I spend a little bit of time having to play around with those to try and get them to look good again. Maybe that's just me. It's kind of one of those weird, I don't know, neurotic things, I guess, about me. But that tends to happen when I pull the words off. For some reason, the letters go in wonky places. So that's gonna basically do it for the layout. I do come back and I want to add a ton of little details. So I'm trying to get some chipboard on here because, you know, chipboard was one of the items this month. And so I pull out this little word hi and I'm trying to put it in there and I'm like, nope, not gonna work, has to go away. The other chipboard is just a little bit too bright for the direction where this particular layout went, so I'm going to skip that. I am going to grab these little hearts and then one of these little like mint colored clips that were also in my kit because clips was one of our items, and so I'm going to get that in like paired up with that little ticket up at the top. And then I'm going to work on two little kind of clusters of little tiny sprinkled embellishments. So one of them is going to be down here to the left of my title. So I'm going to add three little hearts to start it off. So I have a yellow, a pale pink, and a darker pink, and they're all in different sizes. And then I do the same thing over the top, and then I go ahead and finish it off with some sequins as well as some Nouveau drops in each one of those clusters as well, just to create a little bit more texture and dimension. I love adding those little tiny pieces to complete the layout. Do make sure you stop by and check out all the ladies who are playing along with Stretch the Sketch today, and I would love to be tagged on social media if you create with this sketch as well, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!